You thought I was muted, but no, not this time. Yeah, that's right. I got one on over on all of you. Hiya! How about that? Oh yeah! Got you guys good. That's it. That's the show. I pretended to be muted and you guys all fell for it. As if a great streamer like me would ever mute myself. Please, please. No American Show host Rob Noerr. Happy Memorial Day. We're going to talk about a Memorial Day here today. Um, it's been a good day. It's been a very good day. It's one of those days where I had to keep going to town for one thing or another. I had to go pick up stuff for a field trip for my son's school tomorrow. Then I had to go back because I missed something. Then I went back for beverages. Everyone in the house wanted a different beverage. So it's like I was just driving. And I was listening to this guy do like horror movie top 10s. I'm convinced I could do a top 10. I should start doing that. In fact, maybe that's what we'll do. Tomorrow we're going to do the chat of the month. The chat of the month gets to have me do a top 10 video. It won't be live. I'll just do Rob's top 10 dishes to eat on Thanksgiving. Number 10. Top 10 left-wing streamer sex scandals. Yeah. Top 10 whip songs. Oh boy, finally. Yeah, maybe I'll start doing that. That'll be a little bonus for the chat of the month. By the way, Lavin killed it on day shift today. It's going to embarrass you. Night shift won't be able to keep up. It's going to be embarrassing. Day shift Rob was on his game today. Was arguing with some Scottish man. He plants trees, though. What can you do? You know you're in a tough debate where someone's like, you need to have personal responsibility, and you're like, what do you do? And he's like, I plant trees. You're like, all right, you got me. Got me. That was like, who was it I was talking to that one time about socialism? And I was like, well, do you give to charity? And they were like, you know how sometimes when you like swipe your debit card, it'll ask if you want to like round up 10 cents. I click yes. I was like, oh my goodness. What a philanthropist. You know. Yeah, Lavin crushed it this morning on day shift. So it was a good day for me. Oh, man. It was Liberal Cluck. That's right. He was Irish, not Scottish. My mistake. Say the night shift Rob doesn't pay attention. What the hell do I know? I don't know nothing. That day shift Rob, he's a smart bastard. But here on night shift, we have the better audience, so. I have no doubt we'll reach our goal of $357 tonight. None. I've never been more certain of anything in my life. Well, maybe some things. The cringe is starting to overwhelm me. I've started to say things. In my life that's it's not working out well with my family situation. Based on the cringe that I've been watching the past couple nights. I can't help myself, man. I've not been this obsessed with cringy shit since the Steve Wilkos show. Anybody remember Steve Wilkos? He'd like pretend to throw chairs at the guest, call people belly rubbers and shit. See, the British version of Steve Wilkos, there was a show called The Jeremy Kyle Show. And they actually got ripped off the air because a dude was accused of, I think he was accused of cheating on his lady on a lie detector test, and he claims that he didn't. But anyways, his lady left him because he failed this lie detector test. And so before the episode aired, he offed himself. And that was kind of it for the Jeremy Kyle show. I don't think anything like that's happened on Steve Wilkos, but online political streaming is the new fucking Jerry Springer. It really is. And I would like to say that I've been like, hey, come on, this is childish. But I kind of can't help myself. It's just so funny. It's just hilarious. I mean, and to be fair, it's not just on the left. There's crazy shit going on the right. I could not believe this. You would talk about some crazy shit. I could not believe that I saw this earlier today. I about died. Are you ready for this? Now, I've never interacted with Candace Owens. Period. Never interacted with her. I know she's been getting huge views. Now, to be fair, I dislike a lot of what Candace says, but okay. But I about died. Right? Now, as far as I know, I'm still being sued, Devin. I about died when I saw this because I was like, how did little old me have such an impact? And what they were doing was trying to figure out when Candace really jumped the shark and things got crazy. Are you ready? Are you ready for this? Little old Rob, right now, 117 people watching on YouTube. And look what I started. Are you ready? What was the beginning of the super insanity for Candace Owens? Are you ready? Penisgate! No! No! It was Penisgate! I couldn't believe it. I somehow... Now imagine what a victim I feel like. Not only did a syndicated radio host try to force that shit on me, force me to show my penis, now it started Candace Owens' trail off the deep end. Was this all part of Brian Shaprio's master plan? Is that what's going on? He knew that Penisgate would have an almost impossible cascading effect on events that would lead to Candace Owen accusing Erica Kirk and turning point of all this shit, causing a huge rift and factor in the conservative community, which would spill into America First, people eventually arguing with people like Candace and saying their theories were crazy, thereby fracturing huge swaths of the right-wing movement? That son of a bitch.
He harasses women in messages, has a weird infatuation with men's organs. He's a syndicated radio host, and it's all about respect. He's Brian Shaprio.
It's terrible. Can't believe it. The ramifications of Penisgate, like I told you, it's not my penis they want to see, it's yours. And I'm just in between you and them. Remember that. So I'm going to keep fighting. I'm not going to give in to despair. I about died when I saw that. I said, how could that be? Penisgate? Oh, man. Brutal. It's brutal. So I apologize. Apologize that it's came to that. Yeah, that's right, Marcellery. That is correct. That's right. Imaginarium gets it. Micarigo! Or Macarigo. However you pronounce it. Thank you so much on Rumble. Says, no extravaganza. Maybe some cringe for us. Oh, I guess I got some cringy shit. Listen, the extravaganza, it was Memorial Day today, so I guess they had some other thing going on, so. Look at this guy. It's like he doesn't know the lore. Well, I suppose for our Groiper friend Xphobic, I suppose we'll play the Penisgate song for him.
debating folks online, talking politics and chatting about life. When I got noticed by the coolest of chats, a radio host with an image that was rad. But then things turned and I got burned. He got angry when he got spurned. Brian Shapiro asked to see my penis. He growled his demand like it was his deepest wish. He threatened to box me and proceeded to berate. And now I'm the victim of this terrible penis gate. I cried to myself in my second floor attic. My entire life just now feels like it's static. He says it's about a thing called respect, but it treats me as if I'm just an object. He said he wants to help me, but he just wants to see my weenie. Brian Shapiro asked to see my penis. He growled his demand like it was his deepest wish. He threatened to box me and proceeded to berate. And now I'm the victim of this terrible penis gate. Brian Shapiro asked to see my penis. He growled his demand like it was his deepest wish. He threatened to box me and proceeded to berate. And now I'm the victim of this terrible penis gate.
So finding out that penis gate was the beginning of this, it's really difficult. So I'm asking for all your support financially and emotionally to help get me through this penis gate. Blasterbot's helping out. $5 says, I donate this to Random Streamers Gazebo Fund. Does that count as charity? Yes. Darian Munshaw, $50. Thank you. Says, get those likes up. Rob's been on fire, crushing throughout the whole day. That's true. Thank you. And Lord Lost, $5 says, okay, chat, you're single. Anna Kasparian or Candace Owens to date? Well, I'll put my 2 cents in. I met Anna Kasparian at Word War, and she was very nice the entire time. Just saying. It's not like we went out to dinner or anything, but just the interactions with her, she was very nice. Not to say that it wouldn't have been the same with Candace Owens, just giving. In fairness, Pisco and Erudite were there, and they were both very nice. Anna did not seem crazy at all. She seemed completely level-headed, and no one asked to see my penis at Word War. No one. Didn't happen. Not even Gavin McInnes. He didn't ask. Which was shocking, because So there's real stories to talk about. Pisco's too much of a coward to ask. I'll talk a little drama first, and then. I mean, we covered last night some of Connor talking about his divorce, which I feel bad he's getting divorced, but, man, come on. So what I was getting to is some of the shit I've been saying that's cringe. Connor's like, I'll play the clip. I don't even want to say it. Because I said it to my wife today, and I thought she was going to punch me in the throat. That's not a joke. Like she was appalled, and she didn't know what I was talking about, which made it worse. I was like, no, it's a joke. She didn't get the joke. So I will play. I'll play the clip. One second. There it is. All right. Oh boy. All right. So this is Counterpoints, who wants to kick my ass if he ever sees me in public, with the hard-hitting commentary on his own divorce.
Stop. Why are you telling us this, bro?
Do I want to do a slutty face?
So it turns out, if you just go up to your wife with no context and say, do I want to do a slutty face? It turns out it didn't go over that well. My wife was like, what the fuck are you talking about? Who says that? What did you just say? And I was like, it's a joke. She's like, don't say that. She called me a word that rhymes. It sounds like someone slipped up the first letter of a French word for bread. It wasn't good. Oh, man. Turn up the volume. Pump up the jams. Pump it up. All right. But the newest shit is very funny. This clip. Now, I want to start off by saying I believe the record has been corrected here. I believe the record's been corrected. Now, for those of you that are not following the drama, that was just about Counterpoints going through a divorce, which actually is terrible, and I feel bad for him. But some of the details in his little video talking about it's like, I don't know. What are you doing, man? Just whatever, though. It's not. What do I know? I'm an old man. What the fuck do I know? But Destiny's sort of crashing out and recommending doxing some people here or there, allegedly. I don't know or care. And to his credit, Connor, who has been, a Destiny bro, I guess. I pegged this a long time ago. I said I feel like Connor, more than he wanted money from Progressive Victory Pack, wanted to be with the in crowd, with Destiny's crowd. Well, there you got it. Well, now he's been blacklisted by Destiny. And Connor apparently is like what led to the blacklist. Connor's like confronting Destiny about his still bad behavior. I didn't peg Connor! Damn it. I hate you people. I have the worst audience. Anyways. So this was just chef's kiss. So this conversation happened here recently. I mean, I don't know what to say other than enjoy. Here we go.
You know Lauren wanted to get back with you?
Really?
Yes. She loves you. She wants the best for you. She thinks that underneath all the
Lauren Southern. So Connor's saying, Lauren Southern wanted to get back with you.
sludge and bullshit of your fucked up little life, there's something redeeming about you. And I agree with her. But you are such a fucking asshole that it is impossible to be your friend. It's impossible to be your partner. It is impossible to tell you that you're wrong. It's impossible for you to take a fucking L. So take a fucking L and take a goddamn lap.
All right. Very impassioned plea there. Lauren still liked Destiny, says Connor. She wants what's best, but Destiny's sort of self-destructing. Now that's funny, if true, because, Lauren apparently hooked up with Destiny in the past there. I don't give a shit about their weird sex lives, but it's funny. Conservative influencer Lauren Southern, yay. All right. Anyways, so that's Connor. She still likes you, Let's hear Destiny's response.
Connor, if you want a fucking L, me and Lauren have been dating for like 3 months, and we both agreed not to tell you because...
Wait, what? Now, apparently this wasn't true. Apparently, him and Lauren had... The official narrative I saw was Lauren and Destiny broke up months ago? Not years ago, months ago? All right? But anyways, listen to this.
Fucking L. So take a fucking L and take a goddamn lap.
Connor, if you want a fucking L, me and Lauren have been dating for like 3 months, and we both agreed not to tell you because you asked her out while we were in the middle of dating. You have no fucking idea what you're talking about with literally anything you're saying. Connor,
Yes, I do, because I talked to her in about 2 weeks, and you were too much of a fucking cunt to commit. You know Lauren wanted to get back with you?
What is happening? What is happening here? So, let me see if I got everything in that 40-second clip. Destiny he's had friends that just find him to be too toxic. And even Lauren Southern wanted to still be with him, but Destiny's just too toxic. Destiny responds by saying, we've been dating for 3 months, which is apparently a lie. They broke up a few months ago. But the reason that they didn't tell Connor was because Connor asked Lauren out. Is there anyone in the right or left-wing community that Lauren hasn't asked out or hasn't asked Lauren out? Am I out of the fucking loop? Did I not get my ask Lauren Southern out on a date? Questionnaire? Brian Shaprio. Now listen. Lauren's done well for herself, she really has. But I don't think she's high status enough to go out with a syndicated radio host. That's a different level. That's crazy. That's too much masculinity, Brian Shaprio. That's too much. Yeah, I'm sure Andrew didn't as well. I don't know. That could be bullshit. Maybe Connor said afterwards, I never asked her out. That's all bullshit. But man, just one wacky shit after another, right? Now, according to Connor, he was served with divorce papers in February. So then we have February. Let's assume it was February 1st. So sometime you serve divorce papers and within 3 months, you're asking to go on a date. I mean, I don't know. I guess I don't know. What is the normal? I feel like if me and my wife split up, I would not be trying to go on a date with a right-wing streamer. I don't know. Anyways, I'm sure Lauren will give be sure to presenting another Substack article, or she'll be going on fucking, what's his name? Jeremy Boring's show to complain more about the manosphere that she brought down, right? That toxic manosphere. Unlike those left-wing gentlemen. And again, I said this last night. I'm learning words listening to this drama I didn't know. Like, I didn't know about the word age play. I didn't know about that. So thanks so much. But that's what people were saying. That Xphobic says, Jewish folks really mess these people's minds up. Jews, 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 Jews. Now I'm good. Now I'm speaking the truth. There we go. We nailed it. I don't know, man. It's just some fucking. I like the drama I'm involved in. You suck at debate. No, you suck at debate. All right. Go ahead, Exphobic. Why do I not like to talk about the Jews? Am I Jewish? Maybe that's why. You tell me, Exphobic. What could it be? What's the secret reason that you've discovered? I love talking about Jewish folks. We do it almost every show now. I'll talk to Jay anytime. Second favorite Jew of all time. Nice. Who'd I lose to? Sandy Koufax? I'm blackmailed with the whip song. I think the nature of being a reasonable person, whether it be Christian or otherwise. Can we all admit this? Let's start with this. Do we all have things in our lives that we'd like to keep private? Like, I don't particularly want any nude photos of me ever to be taken, let alone to be released. To my knowledge, there has never been a nude photo of, well, yeah, I would not think. Maybe some doctor stuff. I don't know. Thank you very much. Hey, I appreciate that. But I think we all have something. You all have those moments, some cringe shit. Maybe you did some evil shit. Maybe you did some sinful shit. We all have those moments. But I've honestly thought, and I don't know what in my life would be there to like terribly blackmail me. I guess maybe if it was like something that I'm unaware of like a family member. But for me, it's like, I don't know. Were they going to be like, hey, you big, fat, ugly fuck, we got new photos of you or something? I'd be like, oh, well, that's other people's loss. I guess I don't give a shit that much. You know? I just don't know. I honest to goodness have never cheated on my wife. Didn't really have a big sex life, anything silly like that. I've said some racist shit. I used to do stand-up comedy. I suppose if someone got a hold of one of those videos, but I would just be like, what can I say? I was speaking now. What can I say? You know? But I suppose everybody has something. Oh, Randolph Hitler. What beer are we drinking here tonight? Got here late. I didn't drink it all today. I might have a shot of Knob Creek by the end of the night. Thank you for the 5. Miss Mobobo, thanks for being a member. And then Blaster about $5 says, crap, you figured it out. Spear was actually a handler to make sure you kept getting the 7K, Rob. Aha! But I might as well tell some shitty stories tonight. Well, why not? And then we'll get into some more real shit. Anyways, with this drama stuff, I don't even know. I don't know what to say about it. It's like watching a slow-moving train wreck. It really is. Watching all this left-wing shit. Today's Memorial Day. Now, when I was growing up, I used to play taps at the little cemetery down the way at the little church I went to. So I was a French horn player. Everyone made fun of me, called me gay yesterday for playing French horn. But I couldn't tell you the exact nature of this. So someone who's more into music than me might be able to explain it. Like, a trumpet and a French horn are very similar to play. It's basically 2 notes are different. For taps, if I remember, you just hold the first and third key of a trumpet. It basically makes it a bugle. Plays like the same key as a bugle. So I used to play taps. I was in the Boy Scouts and stuff. And, you know, I never personally knew anyone that died in service. But my uncle and my grandpa both fought. I think my uncle fought in Vietnam. My grandpa fought in Korea. And they took it seriously, and they would show up, and they always, even when I was young and didn't really understand, they appreciated that I would show up in my little Boy Scout uniform and I'd play taps. The Kenny G of French horn. That was it growing up. I considered going to the military. I did. And then I got diagnosed with asthma when I was 11. And despite being a big fat fuck, I've actually managed it pretty well most of my life. I used to wrestle. I was a decent wrestler. And then by the time I got into like 8th grade, wrestling really is like people start getting stronger. It's very intense. Like, dude, like MMA or wrestling or boxing or something, but particularly like wrestling and MMA, it'll wear your ass out, man. Like, struggling with someone for like 3 minutes, it'll fucking wear you out. So I had to forfeit my last 2 wrestling matches because I was coughing blood. And they were just like, yep, no more. You can't do that. So I was still allowed to play baseball if I wanted. And I was allowed to play football, but I was only supposed to play one side of the ball, really. I did play offense from time to time, but mostly I played defense. And I was okay. And I'll be honest, I don't know. I was bummed out. I used to like, not that I was like lifting as like an 11-year-old kid or anything, but I was very active. And, I got bummed out with the whole asthma thing to some extent and became a little less active. But I still played football and I still did a bunch of extracurriculars and shit. But I really thought I wanted to go to the military. That's what I really wanted to do. And then it was obvious that I was gonna have a tough time, whatever branch I went into. In addition to asthma, I'm colorblind. Some people said that could, I don't know. So, anywho, I didn't go into the military, but I had some friends that did. And, up until this point in my life, the limited interaction I had with people that served, that were older than me, I didn't have like an uncle or a cousin that passed away. And I have a shitload of cousins. I think I have 50-something cousins. That's just first cousins. I don't know. Something crazy. Maybe it's not that many. I don't know. But, when I was a senior in high school, 9/11 happened. And so there was, around here, like a bunch of rednecks, there was some, fuck that, we're going to whoop some ass, And I imagine it was similar to that, like in World War II after Pearl Harbor. You had a bunch of patriotic people that were like, no, I'm going to go serve, So I did have some friends from high school that not just joined the military, but then saw active duty. But I only know one that died. So the little town I grew up in was called New Bethlehem. It's in Clarion County. I don't live there anymore, but I'm close enough. And Clarion County, the county over for it's called Armstrong County. And there's a bridge and a dam there in the town of New Bethlehem. They have a little dam and then a bridge that goes across the river. And that river is the border between Clarion County and Armstrong County. And the bridge is now named the Sergeant Joseph Garrison Memorial Bridge. And Joe Garrison was a friend of mine in high school. We weren't best friends, but we were decently close. We were in the same crew of like 13, 14 guys that would hang out and go to parties and shit. And he went off to the military, and he unfortunately signed up for several tours and ended up dying in Afghanistan. And so I always like to Memorial Day. Every once in a while, when I drive over that bridge, I think of Joe. But I always like to Memorial Day, take time out of my day to remember him, because he's the closest person I know that actually died in service. Now, I know for a day like this, particularly if you served, there's a good chance, particularly if you served in active duty, that you probably know a lot of people that died in the line of duty. And I don't. And I'm thankful for that, I guess. But it's a solemn day, but it's also a day to just, for me, remember how important the people are that make that sacrifice so that some fat ass like me could sit around and pontificate about politics and, go and pick up Capri Suns for the field trip tomorrow and stuff like that. Somewhere we got to where we're at now because some man died. A bunch of men died. For centuries, that's what's been happening. Because some guy that didn't have much to gain stood on a line somewhere against some other guy that didn't have much to gain and made the ultimate sacrifice. And there's a lot of people that were willing to do it and some that actually did do it. And for me, it's easy to get lost in the shuffle and talk about these political battles. And I believe everything I say about politics. And it's easy to sit around and joke and talk about drama and play stupid ass whip songs and stuff like that. But it really is something that is only possible because these strong men were willing to give that up. So I thought I would talk to you guys a little about my friend Joe Garrison today. Now, the first thing to say is this. It sort of pissed me off when Joe passed away because I believe it was 2011. And I hadn't maintained a lot of friendships with people in high school. I had a core group of like maybe 15, 20 people. Joe's someone that I lost sight of. And now I know why. I knew he was going to the military, but he did tour after tour. And so I hadn't really, I'd hear, oh yeah, Joe's doing real good in the military, but that was it. Maybe saw him once or twice immediately after high school, and that was it. But he was a fun guy in high school, but he wasn't like the most popular guy or anything. And when he died, there were a lot of people that I knew from my school that were like, this is so hard for me. And I don't know. It's one pet peeve I have. Like a lot of times when people pass away, people want to make it about them. It's like you'll see a grieving mother or a grieving wife, and you're like, well, he was on my bowling team, so, I'm feeling it. It's like, okay, dude. Sure, whatever, dude. So it wasn't like that for me. I was like, fuck, that sucks. The guy had a mom and a sister, So I never wanted to make it about me, and I want to make that clear now. I'm not trying to make this about me at all. So I want to say this at the top. Do not think when I tell these stories that this guy was like, we are thick as thieves and we are best friends. It's one of those deals where your friend group expands. I assume this is everywhere, but in a rural area like I was, your friend group expands like once one of your friends gets his driver's license. Because before then, you're just sort of stuck in whose house you could walk to, or once in a blue moon, if your parents are willing to drive you to a friend's house. So like you're kind of stuck with the people in your little town. That's your friends, because that's who you're going to spend time with. Joe didn't live in my little town. In fact, we had 3 elementary schools that went to the same high school, and he went to the elementary school furthest away from me. So I didn't know him until high school. And then, once we could start to had friends that would hang out, we would drive to this town up the way. It was about 25 minutes for a town to do anything. There was a bowling alley up there. And we would all go and play pool and sometimes bowl, but mostly not. And you just sit there and shoot the shit. And I don't remember Joe going to that a lot, but that was my first foray into really hanging out with friends with a car. So you got to sort of become closer friends with other people that you just sat in class with. And eventually, I never really drank until I was a senior in high school. But then you do the old thing where it's like, oh shit, let's get some firewood. So-and-so's older brother's in college and he can get us a case of beer or a handle of vodka. And then that's when I'd start to see Joe more out and about. We were casual friends just from classes, and he played football with me. But that's when you'd see Joe out from time to time. And we became friends. We'd drink and shit. He's funny as a motherfucker. Joe's a funny guy, man. He wasn't the sharpest guy. He didn't get the best grades or anything. He wasn't dumb though, but he's middle of the road. And he had a speech impediment. He couldn't say his R's right. I remember this one time. This is a true story. I hope Joe and his family will forgive me for telling this story. But this is totally true. So we played football, and you had your varsity football team, which we were all on. There was maybe 24 kids on our football team, maybe, on the varsity team. But then of that, the junior varsity team was also on that team. In JV, you had to be a freshman or sophomore, and then your games were on Monday nights instead of Fridays, and it was fucked up. No one cared about JV. So your JV football game would start at 4 o'clock on a Monday, which was crazy because usually it'd take you 2 hours before the game to do your stretches, your warm-ups, the refs to get there, everything, all that stuff. So you'd leave school early for a JV football game. Let's say the school you're playing is 40 minutes away. So we'd leave at like 1 o'clock, and then you'd end up at this other school at like 2 o'clock. And usually where I went to school, when you would play the other team, there wasn't like opposing locker rooms. You would end up in the girls' locker room. That's where you would go. So your home team would use their boys. So at my school, if we were home team, we used the same locker room we always did, but it's a Friday night. So your opponent team would be in the girls' locker room, right? So anyways, it's 2 o'clock and we pull into this school, and Joe was all gung-ho. He's a very energetic dude. So oftentimes would be like the first dude to pop up or whatever. And he was grabbing, we had these big bags that would have like your footballs in it, your tees, maybe some cones for some drills or something before the game. Yeah, I went to Red Bank Valley. That's where I went to school. So he's got the bag. He runs out first. And our coach has given us all right, everybody, get your stuff on. I want you down the field in 30 minutes. We'll start, stretching. We'll go through the walkthrough of the game plan, okay? So Joe, as he runs in the locker room with these bags, and dogs, and he's like, the coach is telling us, and all of a sudden the coach finishes and gets up the bus, and Joe comes running back in, and his eyes are this big, and we're like, what's up, man? And he goes, let me see if I can quote this accurately. He goes, Gales, there's Gales in there. So apparently the other team's coach was like, yeah, you can head to the locker room and get set up. But there was a girls' gym class that was just ending that was like the senior girls or whatever. Now, my understanding is no one was in the shower or anything, but they had just walked in the locker room, and here comes, this dude carrying all this football equipment and shit. Of course, he can't say girl because he'd mispronounce his R. So he's very excited to say, Gills! There's Gills in there. That was a fun Joe story. And then another time, Joe got in trouble for stealing a monkey wrench from the shop class. So he got suspended for a day. And I was telling everyone, I was like, man, Joe got suspended for stealing a monkey wench. Because I was kind of picking on him because he couldn't say R's. I was like, Joe stole a monkey wench. He's suspended for a day. And he was fucking pissed. Super pissed at me. So he gets back like the next day of school. And he comes up to the cafeteria table. He slams his fist down from me. He goes, Wob, I didn't steal a monkey wench. I stole a Quessent wench. And I was like, my mistake. It was a Quessent wench, not a monkey wench. That's my fault. My fault, Joe. That is my fault. And it's fucking funny. Oh man. He picked on our 8th grade history teacher for having a monotone. And our 8th grade history teacher, we were doing like flags or something for countries, and he's like, Joe, can you tell us what color that flag is? And Joe's like, purple. And our teacher was like, I'm sorry, it's not purple, it's purple. Some fucked up shit. But Joe picked on him for having a monotone first. It's funny though. Joe get pissed about that shit a little. But it's one of those things, high school's a weird thing. Like being young's a weird thing. Like there are dudes that are like considered tough guys in like 8th grade, but then maybe they just had a growth spurt and they grew a little, and then, by the time Joe was a senior, he's a badass wrestler, man. I remember going to see, I did the announcements in high school, and I'm 99% sure the movie a bunch of us went out to see was The Phantom Menace. Would have been like 2001. So we're going, oh boy, Star Wars is back, baby. So maybe it was one of the other, like the sequel or whatever, the Clone Wars or whatever, but we're going out to see it. And we get out there, and Spider-Man was there. There was like another high school, and there was a kid dressed up like Spider-Man. And it's like the theaters get a little rowdy before the movie. And Joe calls out Spider-Man. It's crazy. And they get up like on the little platform in front of the seats, and they start like wrestling. And Joe ended up losing. The guy was on top of Joe. And I had him like, in a half Nelson or whatever. And it turned out this was this dude from another school that was like actually like a state champion wrestler. And him and Joe had wrestled before. Joe was a very good wrestler, by the way. And so I was doing the morning announcements the next day, and I went off script. And I was like, terrible news. As Red Bank suffered unbelievable shame as noted superhero Spider-Man took down one of our own at the Phantom Menace last night. In a spirited bout, Mr. Garrison challenged Spider-Man to a bout of martial arts, which ended when the web slinger actually tied Joe up and had him in a half Nelson. I got in trouble. I got in trouble for going off script, and I thought it was pretty good. I was, wasn't to be. The media wasn't in my future. I thought I was made in the shade. But yeah, that was funny. But they were like friends. They weren't like fist fighting. It was like a friendly thing. But that was Joe, man. He was fun. A very nice guy. Funny, had a great sense of humor. Just a fucking good dude, man. Just one of those dudes that was just a solid dude. Wasn't my best friend or anything like that, but a very solid dude who would hang around, had a good sense of humor. He'd call me a fat fuck. I'd make fun of him because he couldn't pronounce ours. Good shit. Good guy shit. So I went off to the military. That's all I knew. And then I remember hearing about 2011 that he passed away. And like I said, they named the bridge after him. So I got a couple things that I wanted to read about him. You can see a picture of him here. So it's my buddy Joe. It's Joe Garrison from Red Bank. There's a picture of him. It says Sergeant Garrison with Fox Company, 2nd Battalion, 8th Marine Regiment. Runs through the desert near Camp Leatherneck during a drill in 2009. Garrison was killed while on his 4th combat deployment to Afghanistan in June of 2011. He was struck by a homemade bomb in Marja. Fucking real man's man. The guy I knew was a kid. The guy that died here was a man. 4 fucking tours of duty in Afghanistan. 4. Truly a man. Says, on Friday, Marines will gather to remember Sergeant Joseph Garrison at a small combat outpost in Afghanistan's Helmand province. Garrison, 27, was killed earlier this month by a roadside bomb. NPR talked with Garrison on an earlier deployment where he was busy training Marines for an operation against Taliban forces in the Helmand River Valley. We're brothers. We eat together, we train together, sleep together, Garrison said 2 years ago, and we'll die for each other. When he was killed, Garrison was on his 4th combat tour in Afghanistan. He planned on one day becoming a drill instructor or maybe a Marine guard at an embassy. But that would have to wait. He was in Afghanistan, and he wanted to make sure his Marines were ready for war. Our first firefight was with him, and soon we started taking rounds. You couldn't tell he was nervous or anything, said Sergeant Dan Clift, who served under Garrison. He just snapped. He said, hey, you guys need to get over there now. And everyone did everything that we were supposed to do, and everything was fine, Clift says. And he talked about it to us before, Hey, this is what you guys can kind of expect. This might happen. This is what I need you guys to do. Just follow my orders, and you guys will be fine. And that's what we did. And like I said, he was a hell of a leader. This was a guy who made himself a leader. Garrison grew up near Pittsburgh, a big hockey and football fan. He overcame a speech impediment. I always ragged on him about it, so I always called him, like, Joey G, because I was always like, I'm Joey Garrison. So I was like, Joey G, says Corporal Sean Martin, who was in Garrison Squad. It's kind of funny. Even then, when he's a fucking man, he's sergeant, he's over all these people, they're still giving him shit about his speech impediment. Fucking Joe. Even then, giving him shit. He's a hell of a guy, though. His parents got divorced. In high school, his wrestling coach became something of a father figure. Garrison was built for wrestling, short and stocky. It was always funny, though, because I'm 6 feet 4 inches, and he was maybe 5'3", 5'4". Ooh, I would guess he was 5'5" or 5'6", but okay, fair enough. He was pretty short. I would always tower over him, but I would follow him anywhere. Garrison heard about the Marines and decided that it was the only life for him. And it was Afghanistan that he teamed up with Clifton Martin. Garrison always told his men to keep their cool and not become callous toward all Afghans. I just tell them, everybody here is not bad, Garrison said 2 years ago. You got people that want us here that are good. You got the Taliban here that obviously don't want us here. And like I tell them, I said, as long as you do your job, you know what you're supposed to do and what's right, we won't have a problem with anything. Martin smiles when he's reminded what Garrison had said. He told us that all the time, he says, that these people, some of them are good. We just have to weed out the bad ones. Garrison knew more about most, that there were bad ones out there, and he knew about roadside bombs, the biggest killer of Americans. When a minesweeper detected a bomb beneath the dirt road, Garrison would run ahead to check things out. He would tell them to back up, and he would get pretty much on all fours and wipe away the dirt, Martin says. That's not what happened on the day he died. Garrison didn't run forward that day to help clear the roadside bomb. In the end, it was just fate. He was part of a patrol walking alongside a high mud wall. The bomb just happened to detonate next to him. Martin heard the explosion and saw a plume of smoke that meant one more roadside bomb. He was part of the quick reaction force that rushed to help. I knew inside something. I felt like I thought it was him. I didn't want it to be, Martin said. Then whenever my squad came back from doing the link-up, he came over and told me it was Sergeant Garrison, and it hit pretty good. I'm going to miss him. He was a stand-up guy who would help his Marines before himself any day of the week. Clift was at the scene of the blast that day, too. He remembers the squad leader holding the bandana that Garrison always wore. Put me on my knees, Clift said. I couldn't believe he was gone. Garrison described himself as a solitary man. When he talked with NPR back in 2009, he said he had no girlfriend back home, no fiance. Growing up and everything, I was more of a loner, he said. I worked on my own, did a lot of stuff on my own. I just kind of stayed that way. But he didn't stay that way. Since the interview, Garrison had met Brittany Stevens, who worked on base at Camp Lejeune in New York. They'd planned to get married when he returned home. And then, this was from another site, from the Travis Manion Foundation. Says, Sergeant Joseph M. Garrison of New Bethlehem, PA, died June 6, 2011, while conducting combat operations in Helmand Province, Afghanistan. He was assigned to 2nd Battalion, 8th Marine Regiment, 2nd Marine Division, Marine Expeditionary Force, Camp Lejeune, North Carolina. Sergeant Garrison joined the Marine Corps in 2002. That was the year we graduated. And was promoted to sergeant in 2007. Garrison did 4 tours of duty in Afghanistan. He was awarded 2 Navy and Marine Corps Achievement Medal, a National Defensive Service Medal, a Good Conduct Medal, a Global War on Terrorism Expeditionary Medal, the Global War on Terrorism Service Medal, and the NATO Medal ISAF Afghanistan. He survived by his parents, Natalie Schoonover and Joseph Garrison, his sisters, Kimberly Knoll and Judy Roop, his brother Jake, and his fiancée, Brittany Stevens. It was always funny because I'm 6'4" and he's maybe 5'4", said Dan Cliff. He's pretty short. I'd always tower over him, but I'd follow him anywhere. He's a hell of a leader. The Travis Manion Foundation provided a challenge grant to 5 Marines, Nick Collier, Nathan Noble, Ross Graves, Matt Dixon, and Jordan Mazar, empowering them to hike the Appalachian Trail to honor Sergeant Garrison and other fallen heroes. Through the mental and physical challenge of the hike, the men honored the lives of their fallen, shared camaraderie in the Marine Corps. That was Joe. And if you'd have known him, in high school, I wouldn't have guessed that he would be like a leader of a bunch of people and would serve 4 tours. I'm not saying that I thought he was a coward or anything, or stupid or anything like that. That's not what I'm saying. But it really makes you wonder, like throughout history, you see all these famous battles that people have been involved in, like D-Day. How many of those guys that went there and sacrificed themselves were the same stories? Like there were some dudes drinking buddy back home, trying to find ways to get a bottle of vodka on a Friday night, chopping firewood and shit, It's really, really crazy to think about. But he was very much a good guy, and he was a lot of fun. He had a fucking great sense of humor. You guys would have loved him. He would have gave me shit, Now, I don't know the man he became, He ended up dying in 2011. I hadn't seen him for 9 years. So I don't know. But he sounds like he became a real man. And, it's a damn shame. It really is. So I'm going to have a drink for my friend here on Memorial Day. And if you have someone you'd like to remember that died in service of this great country, take a drink. It don't matter. Water, whatever. Get yourself something prepared. We'll have a little toast to them here. So give me a minute. I'll get my shit set up. 1 second. I do have to get up early, so Joe, I apologize. I'm not going to drink too much here. All right. Everybody got whatever drink, if you're partaking, whatever you guys have. whoever you want to think about at this moment, but I'll drink to my friend Joe, a funny son of a bitch, always someone that would bring a laugh to the party, who ended up becoming more of a man than I'll ever be. And thanks to great Americans like him, gives me the opportunity to sit here and have so much fun with all of you people. So, Joe, here's to you, man. Looking forward to seeing you someday up there, man. Thanks for being such a man. Happy Memorial Day. Good guy. He really was. I think about it all the time. Memorial Day, every Memorial Day. I'm like, you know, sometimes I feel guilty for not remembering people as much as I should. Yes, my desk is an acoustic guitar. Sorry. But he wasn't a very sappy guy. I don't think he would have. So, yeah, I hope if you all have people that you're remembering on Memorial Day, just remember them a little tonight. Just for a small part of your day. Just to appreciate what they sacrifice. And if you don't, just know that there are thousands upon thousands of men out there over the centuries that have given up their lives. And just to stop and think about it would really do them a great honor. So I will tell my son about Joe. He got a kick out of him. Still wish he could have got a rematch with Spider-Man. I think after the Marines, Joe would have whooped Spider-Man's ass. That's my guess. We'll never get that rematch, but yeah, it's not to say, look, and I learned this, I remember one day being like, yeah, all the veterans, and a veteran told me, like, this isn't our day. That's not what today is. That's what Veterans Day is about. You know, Memorial Day is about those that lost their lives, so. But a tough day. Homelander 2? What did Homelander do? All right. Well, let's see. Piano Dean, what's up, my friend? $5 says, Rob, hope you're doing well this meaningful Memorial Day. Let's all earn it like Captain Miller asked us to. Of course. Thank you, man. Naughty Germ, $5. Thank you as always, my friend. Thank you so much. Sam, $20 says, thanks for helping out veterans, Rob. Learned a lot from you. Learned more from you than anyone while I was in the Navy for 6 years. A sad but true statement. I was not a combat vet, though. Shout out to those guys. Thanks, Sam. Thanks. I really appreciate that. For real. Bat Fricker, $20 says, shout out to all the SFC Weathers of Louisiana. I'm sorry, shout outs to SFC Weathers of Louisiana. He died in Afghanistan in 2014. He was my friend. Shout out to him, man. Thank you, Bat Fricker. I'm sure he'd appreciate that. It's tough. Yeah, all the fallen nameless soldiers. You know, there's sadness, there's melancholy around it, but regardless if you think of any individual conflict or something, isn't there something to men in that situation? Like, you read that story. I don't know what I would do. One time in my life, I had a bullet come near me. I was hunting. I was with my dad and my brother. I was probably 14. We're up on this hill. So if you can imagine this, there's this hill, and it's no trees on it, right? So we're in the middle of this hill, and we're tracking a deer that we saw sort of walking on the middle of the hill and coming around a ridge, and then there's another hillside, and we're going to set up there and watch down. Like, if this is the hill, we're going to walk this way and then up over and look out this way. But down this hill, it goes down and then plateaus, and it's trees. And I'm going to sound like an idiot to anyone who hunts, but those that don't. Apparently below us, there were some people pushing the woods. And what you do when you push the woods is you have a bunch of guys go through the woods, and then deer come running out the back end, and you have a guy waiting. Apparently they kicked up a deer, or we did, on the hill above us. Anyways, here's the hill. We're halfway up it. See this guy at the bottom of the hill at this tree line, and he must not see us. Now, we're wearing all orange, and there's a deer. We see this little buck running. It's a solid 50 yards away from us. It's probably 20 yards down and 30 yards to the right of us, but it's running sort of towards us. And we see the guy, pew, shoot at it, pew, shoot the third time. And this is all like within the span of 5 seconds. Click, 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 click. And that third shot, I didn't hear the shot. I heard, I never heard anything like that. And my dad grabs me and my brother and throws us on the ground and starts fucking screaming. And I don't know how close you have to be to a bullet to hear it whistle like that. But my understanding is pretty close. And this fucking guy didn't see us. He just got big eyes. He sees this buck running and he's just, you're following the buck. So he's not really looking ahead. Now, granted, I was 14, but I never wanted to feel that again. You know? It was not good. I don't know what would happen. Everybody thinks they'd be a hero, right? But would you? I don't know. So when you hear someone like that, that's like the bullets start flying in service and they just, you know, guys instinctively running to protect their brothers. That's man shit. That's fucking man shit. That's shit that we need more of in today's world. There's no faking that. You either do it or you don't. And to experience combat over and over again and keep re-volunteering. 4 tours of duty in Afghanistan, man, he served. 4 tours. It's like, what was I doing in 2011? I started to get my shit together in 2011. I was married in 2014. So I was dating my wife by that time. But I mean, all that time from 2002 when Joe signed up, I was a fucking drunk. I was going out to the bar all the time. Fucking debating. You know? What was my friend Joe doing? Finally gets engaged. Poor fucker. But went out like a man. May his memory never be forgotten for that, you know? So, I don't know. I feel melancholy about it, but I kind of smirk when I think of the good times with him and think, you know, that guy in 10th grade that I was picking on about taking a monkey winch, he went on to be more of a man. He'll be remembered long after me, you know, by people that matter, his fellow soldiers and their families, you know. So good for him. Ultimate sacrifice, but exhibited the ultimate amount of bravery. So. Yeah, John McCain's probably more of a man than Trump. Probably. Glad you made that point. I would guess that's probably true. I appreciate the Trump haters. Plenty of time to hate on Trump. You can't take a moment out. Today, Memorial Day. Go fuck yourself, I guess. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but what will you remember me for? Joe will have Marines that remember him till the day they die, and their children will remember him. Virgil Samlia. Excuse me. A little bit of the whiskey burps there, says. To a tree hero, Brian Shaprio's grandmother. Oh, Brian. So moving on. There's this guy, Apple Lamps. I don't know who that is. But it's a big long thread that I think's worth reading. And we're going to read it, by golly. Are you the guy that I just blocked? Maybe not. How did Israel break Trump's peace deal? Let's hear it. Let's hear it. Israel broke Trump's peace deal. What happened? As far as I knew, the deal wasn't signed. The news that came out today was the United States hit a spot because they accused Iran of putting mines in the Straits of Hormuz to possibly damage ships that were trying to go through. And so they attacked a military target. That's what I heard today. But apparently I missed the big secret deal that Israel blocked the deal. So let's hear it. Let's hear what that is. What did they do today? Tell me what article to read or whatever. Where's this inside information? Israel blocked the peace deal. Let's hear it. Happy to hear it. While we wait for that. You could just say anything. You could say anything. Jair, Israel fixed the NBA playoffs. Yeah, I heard that. Yeah. Hey, what about Israel? They canceled that Tiny Chef show. I heard that. That was a tragedy. Yeah. Heard that. Damn them. Again, this is what I'm saying. I'm not saying everyone. Xphobic seems like a decent guy, right? But so many of these people that just shout Israel about anything, I swear to God, they're paid by Israel. Because at some point, you're just like, I don't believe Israel does anything shitty. Because people tell me everything that's shitty that ever happens is because of Israel. And so I get so tired of it, I don't even look anymore. I'm just like, sure, okay, let's see the proof. Oh, you don't have any? Fuck you. Moving on. Israelis burnt your bread? Oh, no. Oh, Blaster Butt says, it's cool, Wob. You always be remembered as the greatest whip song salesman ever. Oh, fuck. Blaster Butt, absolute legend. Thank you so much. Thank you, man. I agree, and I think this is the point Nick was trying to get to with a lot of the crazy, like, Candace Owens, like, Israel killed Charlie Kirk shit. It really diminishes legitimate criticism that people could have of Israel. It really does, when you're just like, they did everything. Every news story you hear, you're like, how's Israel responsible for this? It just diminishes the people that are actually trying to say, no, there are real problems with Israel. And like clockwork. Oh my fucking God. Oh my God. And I know you're not new to the channel. I know you've been here. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess I'm done talking about this. I'll just say Jews. Now I'm good. Wait a minute, you don't think Israel done everything ever that's negative? So you're saying you don't think Israel's done anything negative? That's what you're saying? Nah, man, Israel did everything. You're right. My bad. My bad. My bad. Why don't you go over to Nick's channel and ask him? When he says, I think Candace is full of shit about Israel killed Charlie Kirk thing. You go to, oh, so you're saying, Nick, that Israel hasn't done bad things? Is that what you're saying, Nick? Is that what you're saying here? Huh? That Israel hasn't done bad things? Is that it? Is that what you're saying? It's all so tiresome. Anyways, I'm going to the restroom. I'll be right back. Enjoy Chair. Chair, give him hell. Buddy, enjoy this guy, because he's going to the guest room soon. He's too squeaky. Look at this guy. Too much fat being upheld. I'll be right back. All right. Leave Chair alone. The Jews aren't paying Chair. They're not. Oh my fucking God. So just to be clear, according to this person, saying, I think there are people that yell Jews about everything, and it's crazy. I don't think the Jews are responsible for everything evil in the world. And this guy's like, so it's just like accusing him of being anti-Semitic. It's the new woke. There you have it. If you don't believe the Jews did everything, then you're basically accusing people of anti-Semitism, and you're the new woke. Got it? Nick Fuentes, new woke. Got it? I mean, I can play this game. All I have to do is find one thing that furthermore is like, actually, I don't think the Jews did that. And I'd be like, oh, so you're calling me an anti-Semite, you motherfucker. You piece of shit. How much did Israel pay you, furthermore? How much? How much did they fucking pay you to think that Israel didn't personally rig Super Bowl 13? You motherfucker. You're on the payroll? You got a tiny hat on? Huh? Accusing me of anti-Semitism? You motherfucker. See how stupid this is? You know, when you find yourself looking at people who basically made their career being like, I hate Israel. I think Israel's really bad. When you're saying that those people are woke, calling other people anti-Semites because they're like, yeah, I don't know that Israel does literally every bad thing. I don't know about that. All of a sudden you're fucking calling me an anti-Semite. Woke. Do I have a tiny hat on? No, just bald under there. Anyways. So, what do we think about Hassan? Let's try to do some pros and cons of our government. Our government going after someone that's like a podcaster. Let's think about that. So Hassan goes over to Cuba. He goes with a bunch of groups, etc., etc. We'll get to all the specifics here. We have laws, financial laws, in addition to criminal laws that are like you can't really deal business with like hostile foreign powers such as the communist government of Cuba. Now you can visit Cuba, and there's certain things you can do, but there's other things that specifically you can't. So the first argument is, should these laws exist in the first place? I don't know. I guess that's for people to decide. Yeah, I guess. I'm not particularly on the up and up on exactly which groups are designated such as this, but sure. I guess that like if we designate a nation as a hostile foreign nation, and you're going over there as a civilian giving money to that hostile foreign nation or a terrorist group or something like that, are we allowed to be like, yeah, you can't do that as a country? Sure, why not? Are they specifically targeting Hassan because he's a left-wing streamer? Yes and no. I think they're targeting him because he was so brazen. That's, to me, what makes this unique. Hassan, my understanding, and I've tried to read into this, and I want to hear a lawyer's perspective on the other side of this. But to me, the thing that is the most incredible about this is, regardless if you think this is a good law or not, it's like Hassan not only brazenly violated it, he sort of volunteered all of the information. That's what it looks like on his own streams. And so, obviously, I want to talk to my man Ryan Mullally and read some more, like, maybe left-wing attorneys that are siding with Hassan here. But I wanted to read this thread. Now, this is from someone named Apple Lamps. Now, Apple Lamps might be a piece of shit, might not be an attorney. I don't know. It sounds good to me. And as far as I'm concerned, most of the mainstream attorneys, media people, and shit have showed themselves to be ridiculous shills. So, here we go. This is a long thread, as you can see, but I thought it's worth going through. Hi, how you doing, Hassan? How's your dog? Couldn't happen to a nicer man, Hassan. This motherfucker'd want us locked and thrown in the gulag for disagreeing with him. Hassan's own broadcasts do the prosecution's work for it. He placed himself at a named military-owned hotel on both the prohibited accommodations list and the restricted list. Now, my understanding is what they're saying is there is literally a list of facilities that you can't stay at, do business with, etc. in Cuba. The Treasury has literally said this place and this place and this place. And Hassan not only stayed at those places, but he announced on stream, I'm staying at these places. All right, so let's continue. Described handing cash to Cuban nationals while acknowledging the limits on him doing so, and confirmed he understood the sanctions regime well enough to obtain a treasury clearance before going. So in other words, he says, I was working with the treasury, which shows that he knows that there's an embargo. He then recited the prohibition on funding government and military entities, disputed only the policy behind it. So, yeah, this law exists, but I don't like it. But it's going to be hard for him to claim ignorance when he's acknowledging, I know this law exists. I just disagree with it. Well, that's not a defense. And announced he would disregard the restrictions outright on any return trip. So he says, when I go back, I'm not going to follow any of the rules. The license he would lean on collapses on his own footage, where the schedule centers on state officials, regime solidarity messaging, and recreation rather than independent civil society contact 515.574 demands. In other words, what it's suggesting here is there is room to not be held accountable by the Treasury for this if you're working with like individual rebels or individual people that aren't working at the behest of the Cuban government. But that's not what Hassan's doing. Hassan's working with the Cuban government. So the defense of, no, Your Honor, I was just working with the people against the Cuban government won't be a defense because he's specifically going to places and spending money on the no contact list and basically proudly announcing being a communist and helping the Cuban government on stream. On CNN, Hassan volunteered that the delegation obtained Treasury authorization and then stayed in a designated 5-star hotel. Quote, "We had to get an OFAC clearance from the Treasury Department just to go. And the American government has actually created these incredible restrictions that only allow American citizens to stay in 4-star hotels on the island. These are 5-star hotels. If I don't stay in one of these hotels, I could go to prison for 10 years and have to pay a $250,000 fine." Now, you remember, if you followed this saga, Hassan goes to Cuba and he's wearing his fancy $1,000 clothes, staying in 5-star hotels, eating fucking, fancy dinners, the whole 9 yards, while he's supposedly there to help the poor, downtrodden Cuban people. So when people call him out on this, he was like, "Oh no, we have to stay at these facilities. The American government says we have to stay at these facilities." Only that was exactly backwards. The United States government was specifically saying you can't stay at these facilities. So Hassan, in his rush to push back against his detractors, claiming that he's a fake socialist, basically announced, "Yes, I know that there are restrictions. I know that there are restrictions. And we have to stay here." The author continues, "The legal description is inverted. There is no 4-star hotel whitelist. The relevant instrument is a prohibition list. In other words, Hassan has it backwards. It's not that the U.S. government says, here are the places you have to stay. It says, here are the places you can't stay." And the hotel delegation used has been named in the reporting as the Grand Hotel Bristol, where Piker and the other participants were staying. That property is on one of the government's lists. It appears by the name State Department's Cuba Prohibited Accommodation List as the Grand Hotel Bristol Kempinski, 485 Avenue, Bellagisa, La Habana. So the specific hotel that Hassan was like, "Oh, I have to stay here because the government said," is literally on a list at one of the places you can't stay. List the properties where the Cuban Assets Control Regulations generally prohibit persons subject to U.S. jurisdiction from lodging, paying for lodging, or making any reservation to lodge. It also sits on the Cuba restricted list. The ownership chain is the reason. Kempinski signed a management contract with Grupo de Turismo Gaviota, Cuba's largest hotel operator, which is owned by GESA, in turn controlled by the Cuban Ministry of the Revolutionary Armed Forces. In other words, the management group of this hotel is controlled by the Cuban government, which is why it's on the restricted list. You're giving money directly to the communist government of Cuba. So that's 2 lists that it's on that's restricted. So payment for lodging at the Bristol is a direct financial transaction flowing to the Cuban military prohibited under 31 CFR 515.210 and 515.209. This is a strict liability on the civil side, and the purpose is irrelevant. In other words, it doesn't matter if your intent was, "Oh, I didn't know." That's a civil penalty. In other words, not jail time, but you could be sued. The support for the Cuban people license he would invoke expressly does not cure it. 515.574D states the license does not authorize lodging at any CPA list property. So even if you have a special license to support the Cuban people, you still can't stay at these facilities. His own framing makes it worse, not better. He told over 1 million viewers he was required to stay there, a claim a community note corrected, noting U.S. law only prevents Americans from staying at venues owned by the Cuban government or its officials. In other words, he could have stayed at any mom and pop hotel or motel, but he didn't. He stayed at a 4-star one. And then when he was called out, he correctly says that he knows that there are places that you're allowed to stay and not allowed to stay, but he inverts the truth and says the government says he has to stay there because he didn't want to be embarrassed for being a fake socialist. So he basically admitted to his crime. He was publicly put on notice that his stated justification was wrong contemporaneously through the trip. So he knew at the time that he was wrong about saying he had to stay there. And yet he continued to stay. On his It's Devastating stream, he describes the delegation, quote, peppering people with just his delegation that he's part of, peppering people with just wads of cash for the most part, with hopes that there's a little bit of economic respite for each individual Cuban that we encounter. So he's staying at this place, owned by the Cuban government that there's an embargo against, that there's a specific list saying you can't stay there, and he's admitting, we're giving them wads of cash. On the collective punishment kneecap call out Donald Trump over Cuba crisis stream, he goes further and counsels his audience to do the same while showing awareness of the limit. Quote, you should bring hard American cash to Cuba and give it to the people of Cuba. Obviously, there are restrictions on how much cash you could bring, but it is what it is. So now he's acknowledging that he knows there's laws against this shit and suggesting that other people come to Cuba and do what he's doing. So I didn't know I was doing wrong. His own words are the evidence from his own streams. Continuing, a documented series of financial transactions on the island and an on-camera acknowledgement that he knew cash transfers are restricted. The it is what it is a knowing disregard. He's like, I know I can't do this, but whatever. Civil liability needs no intent. But a DOJ referral requires willfulness. In other words, for criminal penalty, it has to be willfulness. Hassan supplied unusually direct evidence of it. He knew the regime applied and sought authorization. We had to get an OFC clearance from the Treasury Department just to go. So this is a sophisticated actor with access to sanctions counsel, not someone unaware the rule exists. This isn't some guy that was surfing who ended up in Cuba and ended up finding himself in a nice hotel unaware that there were laws against this. This was a guy who studied it, knew that there were laws, has the money and access so that he could have attorneys, was part of a delegation that would have also had that access, knowingly is saying that there are laws about this shit and willfully violating them. All on camera. He demonstrated specific knowledge that the targets of his spending were government and military entities and pressed ahead anyways. In the mini doc, standing in the hospital compound, he says, quote, a lot of public administrations here, according to the American government, it's still technically owned by the Cuban government and therefore the Cuban military. So when American sanctions are applied, they might try to justify it by saying, oh, you're funding a foreign adversary's military. But the reality is it's funding that would be going to rebuilding these buildings. So he admits the U.S. government considers these military-owned installations. But when we're giving money to them, it's not for the military, it's to rebuild these buildings. Again, he's saying, I don't like the law. I think it's bullshit. Maybe you don't like the law and you think it's bullshit. But that's not a defense of breaking the law. I may not like drunk driving laws. If I get pulled over and I'm shit-faced and I say, I think these laws suck, it's not the officers go, oh, you're free to go then. We didn't know that you didn't like this law. Our mistake. Tough luck. You don't like the law. The law is the law. He stated an intent to violate on a future trip. Quote, when I do come back, I'll probably not abide by the American restrictions. And the public record adds consciousness of illegality from before the trip. He had canceled a 2025 trip to the island, fearing legal repercussions in the U.S. He understood the legal risk a year out and went anyway. Some whether the conduct fits 31 CFR 515-574, which requires a full-time schedule of activities that promote the Cuban people's independence from Cuba authorities and that involve how independent civil society works. His own footage points the other way on every prong. In other words, there are exceptions. If he's there full-time advocating for the Cuban people against the Cuban government, then there are exceptions. But it's clear that's not what Commie Hassan Piker was doing. He's sticking up for the government of Cuba. He spent his entire time with state actors, not independent civil society. By his own description, he conducted interviews with the state hospital surgeon, state university scientist, and the director of international medical missions, and an hour-and-a-half sit-down with the Cuban Vice Minister of Foreign Affairs, Carlos Fernandez de Casio. He even met Jody Evans of Code Pink and the Progressive International Delegation. These are government and government-aligned figures. The framing is solidarity with the authorities, not independence from them. The mini doc closes on the regime's revolutionary slogan. So the actual Cuban government slogan, Patria o Muerte, Venceremos, and on praise for Cubans who refuse to trade their sovereignty for a momentary relief. That is the opposite of the statutory purpose of 515.574. His schedule reads recreational in large part. Across the screams, he describes drinking at La Boguita del Medio and a local establishment, attending the Kneecap concert, leaving La Vida Loca, planning to visit La Plaza de Revolucion, and everything. Sampling cigars and Cuban coffee, and being photographed in what reporting valued as an outfit worth $5,000, including Cartier glasses and rings. The full-time qualifying schedule requirement bars free time and recreation beyond what a full schedule allows. And the group qualification bar in 515.574B means the delegation does not qualify just because some members might. In other words, in order to qualify for this, but he's there for humanitarian purposes to help the people of Cuba against their government, it has to be full-time. You can't be like, I went to a concert, I had coffee, I smoked Cuban cigars, I was living La Vida Loca. That wouldn't qualify. That's recreation. He also had an organizing role rather than passive attendance. As soon as this trip was being planned, I hit up Daniel, their manager from the band Kneecap. That supports coordination element and ties him to the convoy's assembly. He repeatedly foregrounds the non-medical hardware. On his first day stream, the charter was full of good stuff, medicine, food, and most importantly, solar panels. And in the mini dock, the convoy is delivering over 40 tons of necessary supplies. The solar panels and generators are the weakest fit for the medical humanitarian export, carve-out, and the most likely to be characterized as material support to state infrastructure. His own discussion that Cuba's solar supply is more than 90% Chinese and that China doesn't abide by American restrictions frames the hardware in circumvention terms. So it seems evident by his own language that he was violating the law. He's just like, fuck the law. I don't care about it. That's what it seems evident. Now, here's the deal. You may disagree with the law, but when someone's so blatantly thumbing their nose, it's like he wants to make himself a martyr. But here's the thing. Hassan's soft, man. There are people that are radical lefties that probably would be willing to go to prison for a cause. But ain't Hassan. It's not pampered Chink Uyghur's nephew, Hassan. Oh, no. That's not the life for him. So at some point, the Trump administration needs to start making an example out of people that are flagrantly violating the law, whether it be Democrats, whether it be Democratic activists, etc. This is as good a time as any. Who knows? Maybe in Cuban prison, in Guantanamo, maybe they put shot collars on you and just give his fucking dog the button and see what happens, Then Hassan, who said everyone from Adam Schiff should go to prison, that Trump and Trump supporters should go to prison. Now he's like, well, what about me? People stick it up for me. But I think it's funny. We didn't cover that yet, so I thought it'd be nice to talk about it. Some super chats. Dartho Moss, thanks so much for being a member. James Not Jimmy, 13 months, my friend, says Hassan mugshot for Father's Day. One can only hope. It'd be nice, wouldn't it? Looks like your avatar there could be the dude taking the photo. I like to think that a bunch of dogs everywhere are like, mm-hmm. And then Dartho Moss, $20. Thank you, man. Says, just became a Nor Nation warrior. Thank you, my friend. My thoughts on the previous conversation, I think there'd be a softer view towards the Jewish people if instead one of those tiny ants, they wore a 10-gallon yarmulke instead. Now you're talking. You got to do it flashy, right? Do it flashy. This chair is starting to get me. So good luck, Hassan. On a completely different note, well, first off, as you know, we here at the Normal America Show, we like to go to experts, whether it be lawyers in the legal field and other streamers that are expert in certain. So I reached out to, I think we have him on the line, a left-wing expert here, a left-wing expert on these sort of matters. Tell us, caller, do you think that I'm going to be correct that Hassan might see actual jail time over this? Go ahead. What do you think?
We're okay.
Only if you're a pretty kitty.
Hmm. Unfortunately, I don't know that that's going to help us. I don't know. I don't feel like I'm a pretty kitty, so you know, I don't know. I don't know what's going on there. Philip Brevard, $5 says, convict Hassan, throw him in jail. Trump liberates Cuba. Play the celebration on TV. Hassan in jail. March him up into Guantanamo with all the Cuban leaders, right? The Wick segment's not going to hold up in court. I don't know. Don't be so sure. Your Honor, we have an expert here that would like to introduce into evidence the fact that you are, in fact, not a pretty kitty. And as such, we just don't think this will fly, you know. Yes, that was noted cat enthusiast Wick. Now, last night, if you missed it, of course, Sunday nights here on the Normal America Show, the premier channel for powerful black female voices. And you have to learn, black ladies are speaking now. And I just so happen to have a clip. I couldn't confirm that this is one of the authors, but I'm starting to think that this is one of the authors. So I know that there is like these hurtful stereotypes about black women on airplanes being too quiet and not speaking up. And so I'm very happy that now we have some black women that are proudly saying, I'm speaking now. And they're speaking up their opinions on airlines. So I saw this clip given my show. This is what a powerful black woman, no doubt scholarly. This is what power is when a powerful black female is speaking. So enjoy.
That's what
Why,
you want me to
why,
do.
why are you dismissing
I'm just
everybody else?
asking you to excuse me.
Why?
Why is you sitting here arguing?
Why are you so special?
Because I'm trying to get to the front.
Yeah, we're all trying to get to the
But
front.
I'm
We all
saying-
paid the same goddamn money.
Now, I'm tired of racists like this guy. First off, didn't he hear? She's trying to get in the front. What do you have to say as a white man except, I'm so sorry, please? Go ahead. Instead, he's going to sass her back. What makes you special? Did you see her? She is a powerful black woman. That's what makes her special. She's speaking now. When will these men learn? White men are the worst. Let's hear it now.
Okay, but I'm saying, sir, I'm just telling you, excuse me. If you move,
Cool. And the door ain't open.
I'm just saying, though, it don't matter.
It don't matter either
I'm trying
way.
to get up to the front.
Yeah, we all are.
Everybody is.
Excuse me.
No, thank you.
She always like that? Oh, sorry, you don't know her.
No.
This guy is so rude. My goodness. My goodness. He's like, the door is closed. So what? Get out of the way.
So if I
Thankfully.
just move you the fuck out of my way, then I'm assaulting.
Yeah.
Move out of the way, a little colorful language, or I'm going to assault you. Powerful words. Powerful.
So you won't move.
Why are you...
I'm asking
you
that say,
and I'm
excuse me.
saying no.
Okay.
I can say no. I don't have to say yes, do I?
You don't,
Do I need to say yes?
Sir, I'm saying excuse me.
And I'm saying no,
and you
thank
just
you.
don't block my way.
I mean, all right, I got to cut the bit. Imagine the entitlement. I said, excuse me. Right. And I said, okay, no. Imagine that. You're waiting in line anywhere. Excuse me. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm checking out here. I said, excuse me. Now you have to let me through. I'm allowed to say, okay, you're excused. No, you're not getting in front of me. That's not how it works. In her head, does she honestly think because she said, excuse me, that everyone's obligated to be like, oh, my mistake? What if the person behind her says, excuse me? Is she then have to say, oh, well, that's the rules? Methinks she wouldn't care that the person behind her said, excuse me.
Yeah.
So if I hit you,
You're
that's
assaulting
assault.
me. And you got 30.
If I hit you, what? Yeah, that's assault. If you hit me because we're in an airplane waiting for the door to open and I won't let you in front of me, that's assault.
Witnesses on you, man, with the red hair. You'll get arrested and then you will get a lifetime flight ban. You want that?
Okay, but what I'm saying is, I'm just saying excuse me.
What you're saying is you think that you are more special than everybody else on this goddamn fucking plane. Excuse me.
Excuse me.
Excuse me.
Excuse me.
Excuse me.
Look at this smirk. She knows.
Special than everybody else on this goddamn fucking
Excuse
plane.
me.
Anyways, tune in Sunday for I'm Speaking Now. Black women share their truth in 101 Stories of Love, Courage, and Hope. I only hope that this proud black author, female author, gets her opportunity to write in the follow-up version. The story will be epic. I had my child with me, and a bunch of white men tried to steal the child and shoved me on the ground, cutting in line in front of me, and I just kept saying, excuse me, and they threatened to beat me. It'll be an amazing story. It's just... Can you blame her, though? She hasn't had her reparations yet, so... I don't think it's ever acceptable to act like that. I just don't. I find it to be ridiculous. Now, I know people grow up in different environments, and we're not always sure, like, what social conventions of other people are. But for me, that's fucking crazy. What do you think? Do you think that it's ever appropriate to act like that? Is it ever?
Only if you're a pretty kitty.
Pretty kitty? What's the verdict here? No, I don't know that pretty kitty applies here. It's ridiculous. I hate like social rudeness like this. Tinky Type Bars, $5 on Rumble, says she looks like the bad guy from Dune. Just terrible. I saw this Caleb Hammer. You know, just one more thing to talk about. Oh, look at this. Adrian Little, unbelievable. $100, what a legend. Your Honor, stare decisis will substantiate the claim that a female pilot exponentially increases the risk of a catastrophe, albeit Anyone who disagrees with said female pilot, no matter. The situation is getting of racism, misogynist, fascism, Brian Chapriism at all. Very impressive. Clearly a man who's argued in front of the Supreme Court. Well done, Adrian, and thank you for the dono. Thank you so much. Amazing. I had a bit of an incident the last time I flew first class. It wasn't anyone being super rude. It was me being too much of a pushover. So I didn't hear what they announced. So I'm starting to get the hang of it more because I've flown more this year than I ever have. But sometimes I'll get confused with like the boarding numbers. Now, if you're just regular, they'll be like announcing, boarding number 1, boarding number 2, boarding number 3. But sometimes if you're like first class or priority, they'll be like, okay, now announcing our priority customers. But there's all these different things. Like they'll be like veterans and mothers with children and then people on wheelchairs. And then they'll be like priority express preferred customer. And I'm like, is that me? I don't know. And then it's like priority first class and then first class. So I panicked. I didn't know that I was in the right group yet. I was first class. So I'm sitting there and then they start to do, all right, now boarding section 1 or section 2 or whatever it was after first class. And I realized, oh shit, I was supposed to get on with the last group. So it's no big deal. They'll still leave you on. But I was set where I was the very front seat. And I go to the overhead, and it was a very small flight. It was from DC to Pittsburgh. So I go to the overhead, and all the space is taken. And they were saying if you were economy class, you can only take like one little bag. First class, we were allowed to have like our little bag and then plus like a carry-on, like a laptop bag. So I had both. And there's no room on the overhead. So it was the first not gay male flight attendant that I had. It was this bigger black guy, and he's like, yeah, man, just go down until you find space and then put it in. Because otherwise you had to check your bag, and I didn't want to check it. I was trying to get home. So I find a spot, and it's like halfway back the plane because I already left all these poor people that were in coach. I already left them in front of me. So now I find myself in a shitty position where I'm halfway back the plane and I put the bag in and I turn around and here's an entire fucking airplane of people that they let in, and you got the thin row like that. You can't get through. So I just have to like crawl into this seat and wait, standing there awkwardly until everyone gets on the plane from this section so I could get around them back up to the very first seat. So I'm like, and finally the flight attendant guy sees me. He's like, here, 1 second. And he waits people at the door and then lets me get up there and I sit in my seat. Okay. Everybody gets seated and it's raining. And this was a weird, most of the airplanes I've been on, they're like got these, I don't know what the fuck you call them. They're like these little tunnels that you bring out that attach from like the airport to the airplane. So you're encased in it. This one, it didn't. This one, you had to go out in DC. You had to go outside, like onto the tarmac, and then walk across, like in between these ropes. Then you went upstairs, and it's raining the whole time. So the flight attendant guy looks at me because I'm in the very first seat, and he's like, "Can you do me a favor, man?" And I'm like, "Yeah, what's up?" And he's like, I can't legally exit the plane, and 2 people left their bags out there, like on the tarmac. He's like, can you grab them and bring them in? And I was like, oh, yeah, no problem, man. So I go out, grab the bags, bring them in. And then we were boys. He's like, thanks, man. He's like, hey, when you need your bag, I'll grab your bag right before we let people start to exit the plane, and then you'll be the first one off, no problem. I said, great. The flight was not great. It was a lot of turbulence, so they weren't able to serve drinks. That was the first flight I was on. It's only like an hour, but they weren't able to serve drinks or peanuts or any of that shit because the turbulence was too bad. So we just sat there, and then we land, and the guy's like, okay, blah, 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 and they opened the doors, and he forgot about my bag. And now everyone starts getting off, and he's like, oh, thank you for coming. And he looks over and sees me. He's like, oh, man, I'm sorry I forgot your bag. And I was like, that's all right, I'll wait. So now I have to wait until everybody gets off the fucking plane. And he's like, hey, man, just go out and wait out there. And then when everybody gets off, you can go back and grab your bag. I said, okay. So I'm sitting there, watching every motherfucker, very first person, first class, just sitting there all frumpy, watching everyone pass me by. And I'm like, oh, sucks. I just want to go home. And I see the flight attendant dude. He gets off. He walks up the fucking little tube thing into the airport. All right. Finally, the last person gets off, and they have like a crew of people. They're about to get in and, I assume, clean the airplane. And I start walking back on the airplane to grab my bag. And this lady's like, excuse me, what are you doing? And I was like, oh, my bag's still in there. She's like, you're not allowed back on the plane. And I was like, oh, well, that guy said he would get my bag and he's gone. And she's like, well, you can't go back on. And I was like, all right. And she's like, well, what color's your bag? I'll get it. And I was like, oh, it's like a little suitcase on wheels and it's bluish gray. So she goes on, and now I'm sitting there for like 5 fucking minutes. Don't see anyone. Just like, what the fuck are we doing here? And then finally she comes out and she's holding my bag. I'm like, that's it. And she's like, sir, this bag's green. And I'm colorblind. To me, it looks like bluish gray. I have trouble seeing between blues and greens. I was like, yeah, it's probably green. I don't know. I'm colorblind. And she's like, man, it's the only bag on there, so it must be yours. Well, that was it. Now, what I should have done was just said, excuse me, and shoved my way through everyone. I asked you, excuse me. That would have been the way to go about it, I guess, right? But I would be mortified to like impose on other people and force myself through them. Nope, I'll wait. It's my mistake. I'll sit here and fucking wait. I didn't know you could, excuse me. I'll assault you. I'll punch you. I didn't know that was an option. I didn't know. So now I know. That's how civilized people act. Jason Mulgrim, what's up, my friend? $10 says, a guy cut in front of me in the In-N-Out drive-thru yesterday. Anyone who knows, that line is always 50 cars. I was pissed. But what could I do? So I knocked on his window and read him the riot act. Good for you. I'm always weak, I'll be honest, with one exception. The only time I'd really flip out was when I was working with my autistic guys. Then I'd get fucking pissed. Because there's a lot you work on with these people. So if you didn't know, if you're new to the show, I spent about 14 years working with adults with developmental disabilities like autism and other disabilities. And a lot of these people you really work on like weird societal norms. Like, here's something. It's really weird to have to tell someone you can't just descriptively talk about people. Now, that makes no sense. If you were playing a video game, say, right? And I'm like, oh, I played Street Fighter. And you're like, oh, what character did you pick? And I was like, the fat guy. The fat guy with like his hair in a bun. Oh, the sumo guy? E Honda. Yeah, that's him. No problem, right? But you can't talk about people in the real world like that. You can't be like, look at that fat guy. Like, you're like, oh, no shit. Now that it's descriptive, that guy's probably a fat guy if my autistic guy's calling him a fat guy, right? But you have to teach, like, it's not really polite. You're not supposed to say that, Little shit. Like, and one of the things that's little is like, we have to wait in line. And you can't sit there and bullshit to the cashier the whole time. You got to pay. There's other people behind us. Racial descriptors, dude. Yeah, I mean, the best was, I would be a liar if I said I didn't always chuckle at the people I worked with's outrage at LGBT shit. You're not a woman, you're a man. I'm just like, what do you mean you have a boyfriend? Wonderful. Absolute peak. You're just like, oh, don't say that. Hey, I didn't tell it, but I would get fucking pissed then because people take advantage of that. You'll be at Walmart or something. You're there with I tried to go out and get groceries every other day with the people I worked with because it was like something to do. So for me, it was like we're trying to eat healthy. And if you just go out and you get groceries for like a week, well, then maybe you get hungry in the middle of the night and you eat a bunch of shit. But if you're buying your groceries like every 2 days, something to do. If you change your mind, you see commercial, hey, chicken tacos sound good. Yeah, man, we're going out tomorrow for groceries. Let's put it on the list. We'll make our own chicken tacos. So we'd go out all the time. And, you know, your people, that they start to make friends with the people that work there. Everyone's cool. And every once in a while, you get some fuckface that would cut in line in front of you. That's the only time I'd speak up. I'd be, excuse me, we were in line. Oh, but I only got a little. Please, if you can get behind us. Like, I was always polite about it, but I'm like, no, fuck you. If it's just me standing there, I'll just mutter under my breath, like, what the fuck did this guy do? But you cut in line in front of my autistic buddy, fuck you. I didn't help teach this guy for 14 years social conventions just so some lazy asshole who's not autistic could rub it in their face. Fuck all that. You're getting behind me. That shit pissed me off. I hated that. I hated when people did that sort of shit. Other than that, though, I'm like, I don't know. Brennan Bell, $10. Thank you so much, man. And then Adrian Little gives $10 and says, don't know, that will be the goal. Thank you so much. Dan Vicious over on Rumble, $2 says, was that golden bird piss on Cat Williams' hat at the Kevin Hart roast? I didn't see it. But probably. It's probably in style now. The other thing I wanted to talk about real quick, I won't play the clip. You're probably getting shit. Caleb Hammer is talking to someone, a trans, I never get it right, trans woman, so a biological man. And Caleb Hammer is going through the finances like, hey, where'd you get the money for this transition, like a boob job and shit? And the tranny's like, oh, the government paid for it all. Your tax dollars. Is that nice? Hormone injections, all that shit. Yeah, I really like Caleb Hammer. It's like, it really is getting to the point, and I don't know that people understand. I'm not saying anything will ever happen, by the way. You know, we're nothing if not lazy, and I'm one of the worst of them. But man, you can't help but just like I know, man, there were days. I'm lucky now because of you all, because you guys are so generous to me. I'd be on like a 14-day stretch at work, 14 days without seeing my wife or son. And there were days like I'd be having a horrible day at work. You're sitting in an emergency room hospital. You're just sitting there fucking 16 hours. You can't sleep. It's terrible. And I'd sit there and just stare at the wall and be like, man, there's so many people scamming the system and I'm fucking working my ass off. Just not to be rich, just to pay the fucking bills, just to pay the mortgage. And these motherfuckers. And it's just every day it's a new slap in the face, man. Just a new fucking slap in the face. Oh, you're working hard, sucker. And I just don't think, like, I don't think the political class, I don't think the political class fucking gets it. Or they just don't give a shit, which is also a possibility. But people are just, we don't give a fuck. Like, oh, but you have to have compassion for these illegals. No, goodbye. Fuck you. Where was the compassion when fucking blue collar dudes are waking up at 6:30 every fucking morning? Every day. Every day. Where's your compassion there? Gotta go. Ticket type bars. $2. Thank you so much. Over on Rumble says, I love the story about you giving the business to the perfume lady over your friend. Oh, that fucking, yeah. It was I don't know if she was a perfume lady, but yeah, it was at this sort of event that was at the facility we had to go to for a doctor's appointment, and they had like where you could pet service dogs, and it was like a mental health day or some shit. And we're talking to all these people at these stations after a doctor appointment. We go in the last room, and this woman has these squish balls that she's giving out, and she works for like the, I don't know, violence against women something something shelter or whatever. And my guy's, he's a bigger guy. He's probably close to like 5'11". Maybe at this point he weighed like 230. And he definitely has an awkward walk where he's like stilted. So he comes bumbling up and he's like, oh, he wants one of these balls. And this woman's like, don't you get close to me. Get back right now. And starts screaming. And I look over and I see my guy start tearing up. He's embarrassed. And I was like, hey, buddy, wait out here for a minute. And I just was like, how fucking dare you, you piece of shit. You know how hard we work to get him comfortable with people like society? And then you fuck it all up? I was like, you ought to be embarrassed. Fucking enraged me. Just because you're bullshit fucking need to feel to be the victim every moment in your life. You can't see the guy's clearly autistic. He ain't doing shit. Everyone in the facility knows him and enjoys seeing him. You're screaming his face like a fucking maniac. Hate that shit. Yeah, where's their compassion for Irina Zaratustra? There is none. They ain't want you fucking put up murals to her. Now, tomorrow, I think I'm all but guaranteed to be doing the extravaganzas. That'll be on the Crucible's Rumble channel at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Then, of course, I'll be doing my regular show at 10. Tomorrow's a little bit of a special show. We will be crowning the Chad of the month. Hooray! Where you have a chance to become the Chad of the month and supplant the great Jim Hayes and then get a song made about you. Oh, it's wonderful. We'll play the Jim Hayes song tomorrow. And as much as I hate to say it, these stupid whip songs will be 50% off. So instead of $100 donation, it'll be $50 donation. It's still only one song every $100 when we get to that point of the night. But the individual donations will only be $50. Old Joe's trying to super chat, but it's having difficulty. Damn. Just ask your question. I'll try to get it, Old Joe. Yeah, the clients go through some bullshit, Caleb. It's fucking horrible. All right, go for it, Old Joe. Even Lavin will be there tomorrow. All right, Old Joe's got a question for me. Meanwhile, Tinker Type Powers, $2 says, this is a man we should all look up to. Oh, thanks, man. I don't know about that. But I'm honored that you think that. Thank you. I don't know. Do you think people should look up to me?
Only if you're a pretty kitty.
I'm not so sure that I qualify as a pretty kitty. I don't know. I do not know. Pretty kitty. Ugh. All right, Old Joe. We're waiting on Old Joe. It takes a bit to type, and there's a little bit of a delay. So we will wait. Yeah, my whip guys, my merch guys, not been too fruitful thus far. I got to get back to him. It's my fault. All right, Old Joe, he's whipping up a banger of a question here. I'm just going to be like, fuck, I don't know what to say. Here it comes. Dude, I'm the slowest typer in the world. Tinker Ty, thanks for the buck over in Rumble. Says, I'm a dog person. Me too, man. I like most animals, though. But dogs were always my favorite. Cats I'm allergic to sometimes. I don't know. I think I was more just allergic to a specific cat growing up. But it was terrible. But then most cats I'm around, like if I go to someone's house, maybe it's because I don't live with it, so it's not that bad. Are there situations where legalized prostitution could be okay? I read a case where it helped a mentally disabled fellow stop following women. Sure, there's pros and cons to anything. Of course. So, but how many problems does it cause and it worked out for that one guy? Questions like this come up all the time. A lot of the people in the company I worked with, some of them were, I worked in one program, comprehensive, right? Dang, old Joe, then, yeah, it wouldn't leave you type it. Thanks for the $10. Thanks. So I worked in what was called comprehensive. The other part of our program was called signals. Signals were people that had some sort of sex offendery behavior. Now, some of them were legitimately like autistic people that didn't know. Some of them weren't, though. Some of the people in that side of the program were like legit, just fucking like normal guys that like never got the shit beat out of them. So you'd have some 19-year-old dude. I remember I never worked at a signals house, and I was supposed to do overtime at this other house, and then I got switched around. So I get put in this house, and they're like, oh, well, signals is different. You got to have a plan anytime you leave, and it's got to be like on the up and up and blah, 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 blah. And I was like, all right, man, I know. I'm a little grossed out with like the idea of working with someone who's whether been charged with a crime or flagged as possible sexual behaviors. But I was like, fine. If it's like some autistic guy I can handle. I go and I meet the dude, and he's like 19 or 20, and he's like a normal snot-nosed kid. And the whole time it was one of the most aggravating situations I've ever dealt with in my life. Like I spent 2 days there, and this is what it'd be like. He had limited internet access because of, problems in his past. And so he would play World of Warcraft. So he was allowed to access, and they had the computer set up. So that was like basically all he could access. So from like the hours of 4 p.m. to 8 p.m., he could play World of Warcraft. And I remember like just sitting there and he's playing. And so I just am like sitting in a chair. He's right up in front of the TV with like a coffee table in front of him, like as close as I am to this computer. And he's got the monitor was like his TV he had hooked up. And he'd be like, I want a drink. And I'd be like, all right, man, like, go ahead. You know what's in the fridge? I want you to get me a drink. I'm busy. Okay, what do you want? I want a Pepsi. Okay, so I get the Pepsi and I set it over like on the area. There was like a little like coffee table with coasters and stuff. So I set it on there. I was like, yeah, it's over on the coffee table. I don't want it on the coffee table. I want it here. And you're just like, you motherfucker. Every part of me is just like, motherfucker. But you're like, okay. And then the next day, we had a plan. We were allowed to go out, and we went out to the mall, and we mosey on into like a fucking T-Mobile store or something. And the nature of the supervision was I had to be within like 10 feet, but I didn't have to be like right there. And so he's having a conversation with the guy at the T-Mobile store, and I see the guy start grabbing papers, and I'm like, well, what's going on? Oh, this dude's signing up for our new smartphone. I was like, no. Yeah. And I was like, sir, this gentleman's unemployed, and he's not allowed to have a phone like this. What? He told me he works full time. I'm like, that's not true. So he was trying to get access to something that you could get online with. In reality, what needed to happen was, that's what needed to happen. A little bit of some tough love. But this was a person that was probably coddled their whole fucking life and never told, no, please don't do that. Please don't go to those restricted sites. Fuck all that. So needless to say, I'll skip the one part because I don't want to get someone in trouble. The guy that came and relieved me was a very tall black man. And he basically was like, is this guy giving you shit? And I was like, nah, He's like, better not be giving him fucking shit. We're tired of yours. I was like, this dude was flipping out. He wasn't playing soft like I was, which technically you're not allowed to do. So I'd hate for that guy to get in trouble, but it was funny too, because you have to do a crossover. Here's me, right? It's like, I think it was March, because I think March Madness was on. So this like tall black guy, right? We're like filling out the paperwork, and you're making small talk, right? So I'm like, hey man, like, what do you think of who's gonna make the Final Four or whatever? He's like, I don't know, man. I'm like, oh, you know, watch it. And he's like, no. And then I realized that I'm some like fat, short white guy, and the only thing I could think to talk to is with like the big, tall black guys basketball. And I was thinking, what if he was like, I don't know, man, who do you think's gonna win the fucking hot dog eating competition this year, fatty? You know, I'd have been like, touche. So fucking, you know, like you assume the tall black guys in the basketball. I assume the fat bearded guy is into hot dog eating. He's not wrong. And the answer is Joey Chestnut will win again. Though I hear he's like out on probation for assault or some shit. But to answer the question, I suppose they're individuals. It's like this. We have laws that say they have to be 21 years old to get alcohol. But if you're sitting around with your buddies the day before they go off to fight a war in Afghanistan, and you're like, fuck it, dude, let's do a shot. Are you like, yeah, there's no problem with that. Yeah, I suppose prostitution's illegal. But if you have some guy that's like in a position where it's like, dude, you have cancer and you've never had sex and this would really benefit you, let's go get you laid. I guess. I don't know. Oh, I know the competitor with Joey Chestnut. Kobayashi, I know about the hot dog eaters. You know? Brennan Bell, thanks for the $10. Says, I would take back. Oh, I'm sorry. I would talk back to my mom growing up. My dad would get after me. And my parents were divorced. Yeah, man. There are people you deal with in life that it's clear never had an authority figure like teach them the importance of listening to someone in a position of authority. And it's a very important lesson. Because when you don't have that, and then all of a sudden the cops pull you over and you're like, fuck you. Who are you to tell me shit? Well, then it gets real. You know? Fuck authority, says Lord Lost. Rumble's out? No! It looks like I'm still streaming on Rumble. What are you talking about? Someone give me the business. Oh, it's back now. Yeah, I don't know what happened. It should be fun. All right. Well, anyways, it's a stupid part of the show anyways. Tomorrow night, special. We'll do the regular show, and then we'll do the, chat of the month, half price whip songs, all that good shit. Now, you all could choose to donate an assload of money and keep me up late if you want. But I am going to say this. We're going to start the latter half of the show here, the bullshit whip portion. It sucks. It's the worst. So for all of you that wants to leave, totally understand it. I do have to get up reasonably early because although my son's preschool is over, the way it works is at his Catholic school, preschool ended last week, but the regular school doesn't end until this week. So their whole school's going on a field trip tomorrow at this place up in the forest. We have a state forest, and it's like got mini golf and like a little pool and go-karts. So we're heading there tomorrow. So I have to get up at a reasonable hour because I'm one of the chaperones. Whoopee! It'll be fun. We are looking forward to it. But for all you monsters out there, he is a kindergartner now. He's very good. I'm looking forward to it. His classmates are funny too. They're good folks. Whip song, stupid. Any $100 donation spins the whip wheel once. $150, you can pick a specific song on the wheel. $200, you can either stop all the whip songs that would purchased after that, or you could create your own. in a version that you like. At this point, anytime we go over an even 100 mark, so $400 will be the next, that's also another whip song. So if you donated $20, that'd be a whip song. If you donate $100, that's 2 whip songs, one for the 20, passing 400, and one because it's a $100 donation. We have 1, 2 whip songs to play. 2, Kyle Swim the Now, thank you for your $6. 2 whip songs to play. I hate this part of the show, but I also like money. It's not that complicated on my end. For the sadists that enjoy this stupidity, I can't believe that people still enjoy fucking with me like this, but here we are. Crumping kazoos. Let's listen to Oh, look at this. Goodness gracious. Also, I'll read these. Wade Bugs, that's 3 that I owe. And then, who was the other? Blasterbot for an EOD choice. That'll also be 1. So that's 4 I owe plus EOD's choice. One thing I forgot to mention. I will be getting a new computer chair. This guy's going to be put into retirement in our guest room. So any suggestions, if you go to my Discord, within reason, don't be sending me elaborate $20,000 chairs or anything. But if anyone has any suggestions on a comfortable chair on wheels that could adjust up or down that I could utilize that will be quiet, because this one, see? I didn't say Siri. You be quiet. Stop it. Oh no! Shit. All right, I'm back. I'm sorry. Fucking computer. This piece of shit. It just does that now, and it's getting worse. Can you all hear me? I hope. No, it's not. It literally just went black. Everything just went black for me, like instantaneously. And all I had up, like I don't even have a bunch of tabs up or anything. It's just, I don't know. It's frustrating. I can't wait to get my computer because it's getting worse. And I don't know what it is about this shit. Yeah, buy a computer, not a chair. Well, I did buy a computer. It's being built. So hopefully that gets in soon. But I don't know what to do. It keeps getting shittier and shittier and shittier and shittier and shittier. And like twice today, I was just fucking around. I wasn't even streaming, and it crashed on me. And again, I had nothing up. I was literally just on X and on watching a YouTube video doing research for something. So I don't know what the issue is. Anyways, let me make sure I start playing some songs here. I don't want to screw anyone over. Come hell or high water, we're playing a Mangozi, $10 over on Rumble says, you're making chair train the replacement? Poor chair. That's right. We're bringing in an H1B chair, damn it. All right, Crumping Kazoos. Let's do it.
Where there's a whip, there's a whip. Where there's a whip, there's a way. There's a way. We don't want to go to war today, but the Lord of the land said, nay, nay, nay. We're gonna march all day, all day, all day, all day, all day. There's a whip. Where there's a whip, there's a whip. There's a whip. There's a whip. There's a whip. Where there's a whip. There's a whip. There's a whip. There's a whip. Where there's a whip. There's a whip. There's a whip. There's a whip. Left, right. Left, right. Crack on the back says we go down to fight. We're gonna march all day and night and more. For we are the slaves of the dawn. Lord's war.
Hey! All right, EOD, what's up, my man? How you doing? I didn't see you came on. Someone requested a song that you specifically picked, EOD. So what was the version you wanted? Here's a list. I'll scroll through. Perhaps you're interested in I don't know, nursery rhyme harsh vocals, or 90s alt psychedelic pop, or calypso, or that one's not a full one, Dino Boogie Woogie, perhaps Dungeon Synth, or Grimdark Harpsichord Funk. All available. Marathon Congratulatory. Piano Power Metal. I would say good choice, but they all suck ass. Hey! Dartho Moz says, oh God, what's happening? What have I signed up for? Oh my goodness. I apologize, Dartho. You're actually here for like competent content. Instead, you get torture. I get tortured. That's what happens. I hate these fucking songs. It's the same song over and over again in different versions. And I just get tortured. So enjoy. All right, Piano Power Metal it is.
There's a whip, there's a way. Where there's a whip, there's a way. there's a way. Where there's a will, there's a way. Where there's a will, there's a way. Left, right, left, right, left. Where there's a will, there's a way. Left, right. Crack on the back says we're gonna fight. We're gonna march all day and night and more. For we are the slaves of the Dark Lord's war.
Hey! Wow! Way! Woo! Oh wait, yeah. 3 more. Oh man, who would have thought this would be my life? There we go. 10-gallon yarmulke hat. I'll piss on this.
Where there's a will, there's a way. Where there's a will, there's a way. We don't wanna go to war today, but the Lord of the Lash says, nay, nay, nay. We're gonna march all day, all day, all day. Where there's a will, there's a way. Where there's a will, there's a way. Where there's a will, there's a way. Where there's a will, left, right, left, right, left. Where there's a will, left, right. A crack on the back says we're gonna fight. We're gonna march all day and night and more. For we are the slaves of the Dark Lord's war.
Nothing to say. I'm just gonna play another song. Hate that shit. I hate it so bad. Oh, jeez. Look at this. Marathon congratulatory. But first, Blaster Bond. Unbelievable. $150. What an absolute, truly a Tyrannosaurus of a man. Unreal says, let's see. Big decision. I feel like let's go with let's think for a bit. A gazebo glam rock that'll hit the spot. You know what's shit about that too? That's also 2 regular songs that will be added there because it takes us over 600 and 700. All right. Thank you very much for punishing me, Blasterbot. Well, let's do the marathon one first, then we'll.
There's a whip, there's a way. Where there's a whip, there's a way. We don't want to go to war today. For the Lord of the land says nay, nay, nay. We're gonna march all day, all day, all day. Where there's a whip, there's a way. Where there's a whip, there's a way. We're gonna fight, we're gonna march all day and night and more. For we are the slaves of the Dark Lord's war.
Now we got the gazebo rock. Gazebo glam rock.
There's a way. Where there's a whip, there's a way. We don't want to go to war today, but the Lord of the land says nay, nay, nay. We're gonna march all day, all day, all day. Where there's a will, there's a way.
Amazing. Amazing. Now look, we're at 199%. Oh boy, like $4 will get us to 200%. We could do it. You're beating Day Shift, by the way. All right, I have 3 more of these pieces of shit to play. Take it easy, I owned you. Good to hear from you, man. We'll see you on the extravaganza tomorrow. I'll play it, but it doesn't count. It's amazing. There's like 3 that aren't long enough to count, and they show up every night. How it happens.
there's a way. Where there's a whip, there's a way. We don't want to go to war today, but the Lord of the Lash says, nay, nay, nay. We're gonna march all day. All day, all day. Where there's a whip, there's a way. 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 Left, right, left, right, left. Where there's a whip, there's a way. Left, right. A crack on the back says, we're gonna fight. We're gonna march all day and night and more. For we are the slaves of the Dark Lord's war.
Ooh. All right, that one didn't count. Funk. That's a word. What is this shit?
We don't want to go to war today, but the Lord of the Lash says, nay, nay, nay. We're gonna march all day. There's a way. 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 We're gonna march all day, united and more for the slaves of the Dark Lord's war. Where there's a whip, where there's a way, where there's a whip, where there's a way, where there's a whip, where there's a way, where there's a whip, left, right.
Fucking hate this. Yeah, great. All right, that one sucked. This one sucks slightly less, but still sucks. They all do.
There's a whip, there's a way, there's a way. Where there's a whip, there's a way, there's a way. We don't want to go to war today, but the Lord of the Lash says, nay, nay, nay. We're gonna march all day, all day, all day, all day. Where there's a whip, there's a whip, there's a way. Where there's a whip, there's a way. There's a way, where there's a whip, there's a way, there's a way. Left, right, left, there's a way, there's a way. A crack on the back says we're gonna fight, where there's a way. We're gonna march all day and night and more, where there's a way. For we are the slaves of the Dark Lord's war. Where there's a whip, there's a way. There's a way, where there's a whip, there's a way, there's a
All right, folks. Last one, unless someone donates more. Mercifully. Extra tone. That sounds extra shitty. Oh god, this one's terrible.
Where there's a whip, there's a way. Where there's a whip, there's a way. You don't wanna go to work today, but the Lord of the life says nay, nay, nay. We're gonna march all day, all day, all day. Where there's a whip, there's a way. 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 A crack on the back says we're gonna fight.
No! Motherfucker. I don't know what to do. I suppose I gotta replay that whole song. I feel like this song is intentionally screwing over my computer. I don't know what to do. I'm frustrated with this computer. I don't know what's happening. Aver says it's shipped. Okay, he didn't tell me that, so hopefully that's the case. But I'm afraid it's going to completely shit the bed one of these days, and then I'm going to be left not being able to stream until I do something with it. I don't know though. I don't know what the hell is going on with this computer. Like here, I'll show you the tabs I have up. You can see here. Like all I have is I guess it would help if I hello. I got the stupid song, the wheel, Rumble, and StreamYard. That's it. And it keeps shitting the bed. I don't know what is going on. And what's really going to suck is like when I'm doing a debate, or heaven forbid I get on Piers Morgan's show or something, and they're like, yeah, we're never going to have this dude back because the computer keeps shitting the bed. That's what I'm worried about. It's bad enough, and I feel terrible that it's now interfering with my stream. But it'll be even worse when I'm, debating someone. So I don't know. It's very frustrating. All right, I'll play this stupid ass song. Well, I could, and that's what'll end up happening. But I thought the better solution would just be buy a new computer. This one's old anyway, so that's what I'm trying to do. So I do. I shut the computer off when I'm not using it. Yeah. All right, this stupid ass song again.
Where there's a whip, there's a way. Where there's a whip, there's a way. You don't wanna go to war today, but the Lord of the Last says nay, nay, nay. We're gonna march all day, all day, all day. Where there's a whip, there's a way. On the back says we're gonna fight, we're gonna march all day and night and more, for we are the slaves of the Dark Lord's war.
Yay, we did it. We made it. Computer problems aside, we made it. Now, look, we're at 199%. I think that we could get to 200%. I think it's possible. I think $4 on YouTube's end will get us to 200%. That basically doubles what Day Shift was able to accomplish. Who said 200 is another whip? You guys come up with this shit. Armpit farts? Is that what we think they were? You don't make the rules, Wade. It's not in the bylaws, Wade. No. Bullshitters. Quillen thinks that was the best one yet. Oh, my goodness. I'm frustrated about this computer business. It's very frustrating. Do you ever have a time you look at the clock and it comes up a lot? The time 12:34 throughout my life. I've looked at the clock a lot and seen the time 12:34. I feel like something very important is going to happen to me at 12:34 a.m. or p.m. at some point in my life. Kyle Swim the Now donates $4, gets us to 200% and says whip. Now that's bullshit. I didn't confirm it. I'll play the damn song. But that is not in the rules. It's bullshit. Yeah, 4:44. Isn't that weird? 12:34 is the whipping hour. Oh, great. I feel like I'll go to a computer tech. They'll be like, we can't figure it out. You don't have any whip songs on your computer, do you? And I'll be like, oh, shit. I do have whip songs. That is true. I do have those.
Where there's a whip, there's a way. Where there's a whip, there's a way. We don't want to go to war today, but the Lord of the Last says nay, nay, nay. We're gonna march all day, all day, all day. Where there's a whip, there's a way. Where there's a whip, there's a whip. Where there's a whip, there's
I'm going to get my attorney Pisco on this, and he's going to challenge his. My attorney Pisco is looked over the bylaws and thinks you're all full of shit. You're all a bunch of insurrectionists. That's what he thinks. You whipsters. How about that? Didn't see that coming, did you? Oh, no. That's no good. All right. Who's live? Raid Rampage Jackson. Ask how his son's doing. I don't know, folks. I assume that's where we'll end tonight, would be my assumption. Unless anyone else has money to send. Your attorney, Ryan, said mine's full of shit. Uh-huh. Yeah, it is only $86 to the next song. That's true. You do get a free Disney one at $1,000. But I don't know. I don't know that the audience has it in them tonight. I'm pissed off about my shitty computer. It frustrates me. I'm very frustrated about the whole thing. Well, we had a fun stream, didn't we? I like to think we had a fun stream. Who is on YouTube that we could raid over to? Ooh. We raided Cool yesterday. We'll raid over to our friend Abe Dinkus. Back's been feeling pretty good. Iron sharpens iron channel. Excuse me, that was under a minute. Technically true. It was 55 seconds. But seeing as how it was a bonus song and I didn't even know it, I don't much give a shit. It matters little to me. I'm not going to sweat the 5 seconds on an unofficial whip song. Oh, Chop $5 says, when's Blasterbot's Dino special? I don't know. I need to talk to Blasterbot. I don't know if he's still here. So I'll need to work out a day, preferably a Saturday, that works for both Blasterbot and I. That's the goal. So some Saturday, you can make a flyer. That'd be great. Give me 4 inspiring words for the flyer. I'll have to think about it. Blasterbot Dino Battle Royale Invitational Open. Yes, that sounds good. It's going to be amazing. Amazing. It really is. I can't wait. It'd be a real shame if Blasterbot loses his own invitational. First or second Saturday of June. I will write that down and I'll talk to my wife and then I will get back to you. But either of those should work for me, I think, as well. Now, it's going to cost $50 per entry, but you can enter multiple times. And so we'll dick around and we'll play whip songs and dick around until the bracket is set. I know, amazing. I think of Jesse Lee Peterson, too. Thanks to my buddy Jake Rattlesnake. But it's going to be crazy. I don't know. I don't know who's going to win it. Is it a gambling ring? No, kind of. It's like pachinko. Is that what they call it in Japan? All right. Well, folks, I'm going to get some sleep so I can get up and be a good chaperone for the preschoolers. And I'm going to be merciless tomorrow at mini golf. Look, I'll leave a preschooler beat me at checkers or something, but not mini golf. No, I'm going to be brutal. I'm going to be making hole-in-ones like, oh, what's that? Oh, I'm sorry. You don't know how to hold the golf club? You see how I hit the ball way over there in the hole? Yeah, the man. So I assure you, I'm going in there all fire and brimstone, ready to defend my honor. I take my mini golf very seriously. I'm a very quality mini golf player. The John Daly of mini golf. It's me. So, all right, we're raiding over to Abe Dinkus. I want to say thank you so much to my editor, Black Elk. Excuse me. Thank you to all of my wonderful moderators. Excuse me. Thank you so much to everyone who donated a lot today. Blasterbot donated a huge amount of money. Wade Boggs, Adrian Little. All you guys are great. Normally we do a little, Charlie Kirk, and please keep him in your thoughts. But I just want to say one more time, if you have anyone in your family, friends, whatever, that lost their life serving this great country in the military, just take a moment to think of them. I'm sure they would appreciate it. So happy Memorial Day to all of you. God bless my friend Joe, a real man's man that died fighting for this great country over in Afghanistan. And so I can't wait to see you all tomorrow night. We have the Chad of the Month special. Should be a good show. So we'll see you all soon. Enjoy the raid of Abe Dinkus. Happy Memorial Day. And as always, have a good one.